Welcome back to Middle East Tonight. I'm your host, Zach Foster. This is my Princeton diploma, and I'm gonna light it on fire in just a minute. But before I do, I just want to read it one last time. Praeses et curatores universitates princetoniensis. Yo, good thing they wrote that in Latin. Good thing they put case endings on Princetoniensis. I mean, you never know when a Latin grammar Greek comes over your house, looks at your wall-frame diploma and goes, bro, they forgot the cis on Princetoniensis. So why am I lighting my Princeton diploma on fire? Let's talk about Princeton. And I'm only singling out Princeton because that's where I did my Ph.D. Everything I'm about to say also applies to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and other elite schools. Princeton is a luxury brand, not a public good. In just the past 17 years, Princeton barely increased its freshman seats, even while the applicant pool has more than doubled. Getting into Princeton or Harvard or Stanford is kind of like winning the lottery. But here's the awkward thing. Boarding school kids, i.e. kids of parents spending $40,000 a year on private school, are 18 times more likely to get into Princeton. Kids from households earning $500,000 a year or more are 20 times more likely to get into Harvard than anyone else. Princeton and Harvard are like lotteries where your chances of winning are a function of how rich your parents are. And what's absurd about these institutions, drunk on exclusivity, is that the rest of us are subsidizing this crap. According to one estimate, Princeton University gets 10 times as many taxpayer dollars per student as the average public university. And how do they do that? Number one, they keep their class sizes small. The entire Ivy League educates just 65,000 students, about the same number as Ohio State or Central Florida University. This drives up the value of the brand and justifies obscene tuition prices. Number two, tax-free endowment returns. Last year, Princeton's $27 billion endowment accrued $1.2 billion in untaxed revenue. Number three, tax-free donations. In 2002, when Meg Whitman donated $30 million to Princeton, she actually only donated about $20 million, and the other $10 million was picked up by the federal government. So why are taxpayers subsidizing the education of the top 1%? Princeton, you are operating a taxpayer-funded hedge fund masquerading as a public good, whose purpose in the world is to funnel rich kids from boarding schools to jobs in finance and consulting and act as a free HR service to U.S. corporations. I mean, every private wealth management fund in the U.S. should offer Zoom classes to 1,400 kids a year, rebrand themselves as a university, and if you're Berkshire Hathaway, save your shareholders $3.6 billion a year in federal taxes. And the most ridiculous part of this whole thing is that with 1,300 faculty and only 5,000 students, Princeton gets these awkwardly small class sizes. I was recently asked by a former Princeton professor of mine if I could lead a guest lecture for his class of 2 students. I was like, listen, I love to lecture, but I'm maxed out at, 1.7 students. 2 students in a class? Princeton, what are you optimizing for? The amount of space in the room for everyone's blazer elbow pads? Yo, I need extra classroom space for my 2,000 thread count Egyptian cotton elbow pads. Chad, what are you talking about? The higher the thread count, the thinner the pads. I experienced this myself. I was also in a 2-person class on classical Armenian. And I was like, yo, good thing the dearth of pre-modern Armenian poetry experts has become unacceptably low. Good thing American taxpayers are footing this bill. Anyways, I don't understand how you're somehow being advantaged by being in a 2-person class. If you look at the global hubs of creativity, vibrant urban centers, you want more people on campus, not less. So this whole model is not only bad for society, but it's bad for the intellectual development of the students who get in. The exclusivity model is eroding the public's trust in the entire system as well. 58% of Republicans believe that college has a negative effect on this country. I always rant about the problems, but before I burn my diploma, I want to talk about some solutions. Number one, double your freshman class size every year for at least the next 3 years. Guarantee that most of the new spots go to low-income, historically disadvantaged folks, descendants of slaves, African Americans, Native Americans, Latinos, immigrants from low-income countries, GLBT folks. You got a lot of great options. Number two, move 50 to 75% of your classes online so you've got 3 years runway to secure more physical space to house more students in more classes. 3, drastically lower prices because you have 3 times as many students. 4, require your faculty publish open access rather than behind paywalls. This will have no impact on cost, but will provide the public access to the research it's paying for. And number 5, reduce the size of the staff. Princeton, you have 5,300 undergraduate students, 1,200 faculty, and 5,700 benefits eligible staff, and presumably some undisclosed number of benefits ineligible staff, which means, let me repeat that, there are more staff than students at Princeton University. What do you have, like one staff member assigned to like every student and be like, yo, guys, if Chad drops his Apple Watch, grab it and go give it to one of the staff members whose benefits ineligible. Now, clean up your endowment. Number 6, make ethical investments, no private prisons, eco-friendly companies, think about human rights violations, take the financial hit but the moral high ground. You have $27 billion, I'm not too worried. So why am I burning my Princeton diploma? It's a symbolic act of protest against Princeton, and more importantly, I'm trying to drive engagement for this YouTube channel, and that thumbnail is gonna look pretty gangster. I hope so. So here we go, guys. Here is the act that we've all been waiting for. Let me just make sure the video's still running, because this would suck if I shot this scene and there was like a malfunction in the video. All right, so we're just gonna check. We're recording, right? Hashtag light your Princeton diploma on fire. All right, please don't just start a fire in this apartment. All right, here it goes. This is burning slower than I expected. Let's try going like this, see what that does. It's just not, there we go. Little forest management practices here. I should be careful about what I say because I'm not gonna be able to reshoot this scene. There it goes. Should I be reading it while I'm burning it? Okay, Zachary Jacob Foster, ingenio et scientia tam prec pra clare intuito en pramiera. That's burnt after that. Okay. Cum grandes academici instituti siti und... Okay, that's enough. Oh, shit! All right. Guys, I had a failsafe here. I had a bucket of water. This fire is under control. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Until next time, don't try that at home.